Hey, and we're back. You're listening to Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Bill Weidecker from the Fine Homes Group at Keller Williams Realty Metropolitan. I'm here with Justin McIsaac, our producer for the show today, and we've had a very vibrant first couple of segments, and we were talking in the last segment about real estate scams out there, and it is very much a thing right now because, as you said, Justin, people can gain access to a lot of information through municipal assessment records, and they can find out that somebody lives in a different part of the country and they own property in this part of the country, and they reach out to realtors and say, we want to sell our property. A couple of things that you need to be aware of, and I think that first and foremost, you got to make sure if it's a vacant property that the realtor you're working with can show you or has the ability to get and verify some identification that matches the address on the tax assessor's card, and even a government ID, because we've received passports, and driver's licenses that look pretty valid, because you can get fake ID. Listen,
that's my understanding from when I was young. And,
you need only
allegedly.
You need only talk to a college-age kid, and they'll direct you in the right direction. But we oftentimes looked at FaceTime somebody.
Yep.
Because, listen, let me FaceTime you when I get out to the land. What's your number?
Yep.
Ding. People disappear. Oftentimes.
That's a wrap.
Yep. Or some video conferencing like Zoom.
Yep.
Is really important. You want to make sure that if you're the buyer, you look at the copy of the tax bill and any other documentation with property addresses. And I say this to the realtors that work for me is start to ask questions about the property that can't be figured out publicly.
Right. Yeah, like there used to be a house here. Is there lines underneath the property? How many trees are out there?
Yeah. When were you at the property last?
Yeah. When's the last time you saw it? Has there been a flood here?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And oftentimes if you're getting calls, if you're getting calls from a blocked ID,
that's not good.
No, it is not good. And you want to be able to make sure you have some email communication as well.
Yep.
And listen, if you're at all skeptical, stop.
Right.
If you're a buyer looking to buy and you feel the things are a little bit skeptical, stop. Or ask your broker, your real estate agent. Ask if you're working with me. You just say, look, let's go beyond the shadow of a doubt that we know who we're dealing with here.
Not just with like land scams or stuff like that, Bill, but I found the more full of BS somebody is, the fewer amount of questions they want to answer. Yeah. So if you keep, even if it seems like an inane question, if you pepper people with questions, eventually they're going to be like, well, this is more trouble than it's worth. I'm going to move on to the next person.
We use a series of reverse directories.
Yeah.
Which is the ability, you pay for it, and we pay for it at Fine Homes Group. And so we can do a search of an individual and get cell phone numbers, dates of birth, things of that nature.
Yep.
So that when we're having a conversation, we can also call a cell number that they may not be calling from.
Right.
And say, is this Mr. Smith? We got a call for somebody looking to sell your land. It's frightening out there. And then also for realtors, make sure that the closing attorney or title company, if you're closing locally, that you can go and pay a visit.
Sure.
And you can go and make sure that it's not some internet-based closing entity that you're wiring the money to.
Yeah. This is SCAM.com, not a great website to go to for closing. At least I've found. That's my experience.
Well, let's spend the remainder of our time today talking about the market in general as we go into, we are literally the last week of the year coming up, and the last week of March.
I was going to say, this went quick.
I'm losing my head. We're getting into April, right around the bend here, and what we are finding is while there's more inventory coming on the market, we're a little bit more than this time last year. There's still plenty of buying and buying traffic out there that's outstripping the supply. Mm-hmm. So it's still very much a seller's market. And the good news, if you're a buyer, you've probably been frustrated because in many cases, buyers have made multiple offers on multiple properties and haven't prevailed because they're still competing with many, many others. Mm-hmm. And there's more property coming on the market than last year. It might not feel that way to you, but your time will come and your turn will come. And so we're about 20% more listings year to date than last year.
Wow.
So it's just there's still not enough. So for instance, there's just a little over 1,000 single family homes on the market in the state of New Hampshire. And to give you some context, city of Manchester, the entire city, in all price ranges, there's 13 single family homes on the market today.
I think that's up from last week.
Yes, it is. It's up a little.
Yeah, not much, but it is. Yeah.
And then 14 in Concord. So there's it's not much better.
I'm gonna do some math here. That's 27 total between Manchester and Concord. So.
Yeah, and so if you think of that, there's a reason why we rank number 1 and number 9 in the hotness index.
Right.
And then if you're thinking, well, maybe I'll just settle for a condominium. Condominiums in Manchester. 6. There's 6 on the market right now.
That's not a lot. No.
So inventory is still an issue.
Does Goffstown have more than one available, or do they go down to 0?
Well, you know what?
That was last year. I remember Goffstown had 1 home.
Yeah. Well, let's just see what that. Let's look at that. Yeah. We're gonna do this in real time.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. So hold on.
Yeah. Goffstown Grizzlies were represented with the 1 house. And maybe because of this show last week.
There is just an abundance.
Oh, what do we got?
5.
Oh, it's a gold rush.
There's just they're everywhere.
That's a 400% increase, right?
There's 5 properties on the market. And the long and the short of it is, last week when I looked at the numbers in Bedford, there were 12 on the market, and 8 of the 12 were over 800,000 or more.
Right.
So it's not like we're finding that prices. There's still tons of pressure on prices. Yep. Prices are up 10% for the first 2 months of this year statewide versus the first 2 months of last year.
Hey, let me ask you this: have you found? I've as someone who reads way too much for my own mental health about the news, I have read a few different stories about folks that are millennials, younger than me. I'm Gen X, so younger than me, that are getting together with like groups of friends, and they're all going in on a house, so they all have somewhere to live. Have you experienced any of that, or is that just something that happens elsewhere in the country?
Goodness, I haven't. It doesn't mean it
it might be more of a city thing, or like a big city suburb of like a New York or in Jersey or Connecticut or something like that. But I have read that because the market is so inventory deficient, that groups of friends, not huge groups, but like maybe like 2 or 3 couples are like, let's go all in on this house that has like 4 bedrooms. We'll all stay in a room and we'll all split the mortgage, almost like renting an apartment together.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that when I was in college and I moved out of the dormitory in 1 year into an apartment with 5 friends the next year, that's when you really get to know people.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's listen, I can understand it if you're buying a property with 1 friend.
Yeah.
And you say, all right, here are the rules. Here are the rules of the road as to let's make sure we have full agreement on how we're going to live together and what happens when somebody says, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Check with me in 18 months, right?
How do you get out?
Yeah. Especially when it's a 30-year mortgage, right?
Well, it's, and listen, I've been through in 41 years, I've been through all kinds of real estate markets, and real estate, while right now is very, very liquid, you want to sell your house, you could be out in 30 days. Mm-hmm. But markets change, and they're not always as liquid as we'd like.
Right.
So we got one final segment. We'll continue this conversation about the market in New Hampshire and New England in general. But you're listening to Good Deeds. It's real estate with a mission. I'm Bill Weidecker from the Fine Homes Group at Keller Williams Realty Metropolitan. We'll be right back.